stuff. It's just those two things. Like, to get these mental gymnastics you have to go through to get to Colin's mind space on this trade is just, to me, it's way too much. Like,
I'm recording.
Yeah, all right, I'll record it. Oh, never mind. You're recording. We're good. Okay. So before we start, we only have half an hour here. Actually, not much time. That's fine though. Go over the Bell Let's Talk thing for 5 minutes or so. Because I forgot to mention it, and I think it's important. Because I struggle with that stuff myself, and a lot of people do. But I want to emphasize, because even like the other day before we did a podcast, like that was like one of the worst days I've had in a long time, and I don't even know why, but it just was. And basically, anyone listening, like, we're a hockey podcast. We want to talk about hockey, but if you want to at any point, like, reach out to one of us and just chat in general, like on a more personal level, like, please feel free to, because like I've reached out to many people about my issues, and I think that it's important that, oh, Dylan, it's important that it's, it's important that gets emphasized, basically, because I want people to be able to talk to me on a personal level, not just like this hockey podcast guy, So I think it's important that we emphasize that. And I struggle with anxiety majorly myself. Like, every day is a struggle for me. I'm just used to it at this point, but it's like a major thing in my life. And I just think it's really important. Like, I take mental health extremely seriously. And I don't know if you guys want to add anything, but I want people to know that who are listening, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Dylan's having some fun over there, but with all seriousness, it's definitely a topic that doesn't get discussed enough, and we've all been affected by it one way or another. And 100%, we're always here, and that's even just to you guys too, right? We're always here. We're always here for each other, and it's having that support group around you, whether it's the friggin' dumbheads who talk about Canucks hockey on a podcast, or if it's your group of friends around you. You got to have someone. So we're always here. We're always gonna be your someone if you need it.
And if you feel like give me a phone, I'm not going to post my phone number, but if you ever hit me up in my DMs and you want to talk on the phone, I don't care who you are, but I'll always give you the time of day no matter what. So just wanted to do that first and foremost.
I want to say something to this, though, because I was pretty bothered. They have their Bell Let's Talk Day, which is awesome, and they've done it for years. But then they go and they lay off like 100 people or something, and like right after, and like, I get it. It's tough year financially and everything, but like, I don't know.
I don't really want to discuss political things like that personally, but I'll let you discuss it if you want.
Yeah, I definitely want to speak to it because, yes, I mean, there wasn't much transparency on it, and maybe they had to do it. I don't know what their budget looks like, but it just makes you wonder, like, if they care about more than the bottom line when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, and this is like a topic that has been somewhat covered. Maybe we're getting a little off, and we'll transition out of that. But 100%, like, a topic that most people do think about is the company really doing something like this because they care, or is it just because one day of the year we get the most exposure than any other company?
Exactly.
Those are things that people do think about, and it is a serious concern and understanding. So I agree with you. To me, sometimes seeing things like that, it's like, I understand you're doing a lot to help, but when it's one day out of the year, what else can we do? We got to continue to keep this system going to help each other out. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to get too involved in that, but that's a fair point of view. That's a fair point of view to have. But yeah, I thought we'd touch on that quickly before we talk about this team. So we're not really going to do topics today because, like, we all know what we're going to discuss. Basically, I'm excited for this game because even if we play well, Dylan made a good point. It's Hockey Night Canada. The guys are going to bring it, and it's almost like if they bring it, it seems fake to me at this point, just because it's Hockey Night Canada. But like, if they're gonna bring it this game, like, let's say they have a great game, I'm gonna be furious if we don't continue it, because like, that's what I mean. Like, I want to see continuation. If we play well today, I want to see continuation. If we lose again like we did last time, I'm gonna blow up probably, because like, I'm so sick of seeing. This is my rant. I'm already getting fired up. I'm so sick of seeing this bullshit product. I've been a Canucks fan for how long now? Benning's been on the job for 7 years. Travis Green's been our head coach for probably 4. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. I want to see change. I want to see a better team. We have enough guys on this team to do better. It's just not good enough. And you cannot go after each game and go, I like parts of our game. I like parts of our game. Like, what is that? Like, I understand you don't want to feed the Vancouver media, but like, that doesn't give me confidence as a fan that you're gonna figure it out at all. Like, there's no confidence in what you're saying, and it's like the same old grain of salt crap you're feeding the fan. It's like, at least give me something to be positive about. And then when I watch this product on the ice, and it's just like I don't want to watch this crap, this absolute garbage. This is not professional hockey. This is like, leaving Demko. You're gonna ruin Demko's confidence. Like, you're just gonna destroy the kid. And like, where's the structure? There's no structure. There's nothing to this team right now. This is horrible. Like, Detroit could come in and beat us 8-0 probably at this point. It's just so disgusting to watch. I'm so sick of it. Anyone
Yeah.
else want to say anything?
Dylan, what's your how are you feeling right now?
I hope it crashes and burns so they all get fired.
At this point, I agree.
Honestly, it's like to your point about Travis Green, like at least when certain people come to the mic and they don't want to be at a press conference, they let us know. They don't just tell us every press conference the same thing over and over. And I don't know. It's just that point of well, some parts of our game were really good. It's like, yeah, well, we didn't win though, so
I know.
we still didn't look that good. And for 58 minutes of the game, we didn't look that good. So,
dude, it's been the worst hockey I've ever seen. It's not even. It's like worse than like when we had Lucas Spisa and freaking what's his name, Good Branson as our defenseman. It's worse than that. It's so
That was
bad.
so bad.
I remember watching those games. I'm going, okay, well, we're in a rebuild. I'm gonna let it cut. Like, I'm gonna let it go because we're in a rebuild. I'm not expecting to be good. But this isn't that anymore. Like, this is just not acceptable. And I'm just like, I that's why I avoid the group messaging stuff during the game, because I just get so emotional, and it's just like, I want to take my car and drive it through my house. Honestly, it's
Who's worse, Tyler Myers or Eric Goodbranson?
right now. Oh, that's tough.
It's tough. They're both really bad.
I'd say it's still a good Branson's off. Like, again, he's a person. I'm not trying to trash him. It's just it's rough. That's all.
But I mean, I don't think
know.
you're giving Tyler Myers enough
Okay.
credit.
Okay, well let's make this a three-way game. What about we throw Nate Schmidt into the story? Now who's the best possible?
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up. We're not seeing even close to the good Nate Schmidt that he's played. I don't care what you say. You can disagree if you want, but we're not. It's not even close. If you bring a guy, how do you as a professional hockey player, you can't just like, even like David with a bad system doesn't look great all the time. Like, you just can't. What do you expect from the guy? He just comes in, doesn't know the system. Clearly, you're just laughing at me as I'm saying this, but
I just want to step in before Dylan does, because I know he's got lots to say on the topic.
His mouth is just like bulging right now.
Foaming.
He wants to say something.
He's salivating. He's Pavlov's dog right now. Yeah. No, 100%. Like, to Dylan's point, and I don't want to steal his thunder because he's gonna go into it. But when it comes down to him being paired up with literally every defenseman we've had at this point, and he still doesn't look like he has any understanding of the game or like success, is where I have issues, because I know exactly what kind of player he has been in the past. I know what he was like with Washington. I know what we saw him turn into in Vegas, whether that's exactly what he was or if that was just the system in place was so well and that's worked for him. But I'm not seeing either one of those characters right now. That's the problem. Like, if he was just being shut down and just being safe, I'd be okay. I'd be like, I understand you're still getting comfortable, but we're not even seeing anything of promise right now. It's tough, but I try and preach patience as much as I can, but it's tough for me.
Yeah.
If he was the only guy on the team who was struggling, I would get it, but it's not the case. So the whole Hughes has looked awful this year too. I love Hughes, but he hasn't even looked himself. So how could you judge Schmidt that harshly? I don't
know if I like that argument.
I do.
Like, because other guys are bad, therefore you like. There's a lot of players that stick out and have great seasons on really bad teams. Some guys actually thrive being the best player on a bad team, rather than in the shadows of a star. But Schmidt and Myers, I'm trying to find their turnover stats, but the amount of turnovers is so bad.
Oh, it's catastrophic. I agree with that.
Like, I don't even know. Man, I haven't seen anything. I hope you're right, but I'm really depressed about the Canucks, honestly. Like
I am too. I am too.
I can't even get to this. I'm having a hard time even getting worked up though, because all I can think about is the fact that not only are we fucked for this year, I just feel like we're fucked for years to come, because we finally had contracts coming off the books in a couple years from now after next season. But now I feel like we're just buried under Schmidt and Myers for the next 4 years after this year. To me, that's all I can think about. I feel like we're fucked. I feel like we've wasted 12 million bucks right there, and for probably fifth and sixth at best defenseman.
Um. Yeah, I don't know. Whenever it drives me nuts hearing the words Schmidt included in that. Myers, I get, but I still have a huge difference of opinion there.
A year ago, we would have had the exact same conversation with Myers.
Myers, I don't disagree with.
You did a year ago. That was my point. I would have said the same thing, and you would have said,
just hear
Colin,
me out.
it was the preseason
Hear me
pod.
out.
The pre.
Hear me out. Hear me
Oh,
out.
I was gonna say
Myers-
I've made sure I've defended him in the last 2 months, so I'll take credit for that.
Hold on, Myers was not regarded as even a number, like barely a number 4 when he got here, so he was already overpaid. Schmidt was regarded as a good number 2. They're not the same players that we're acquiring here. They're different caliber players who are currently playing like shit. So I don't like that argument.
I don't think many people ever regarded him as a number 2. I don't know where you get this information.
Well, you're on Twitter every day. You're not. People tweet these things. They tweet their opinions, all that stuff. So.
People are freaking stupid. Then I don't think many people that are respected think that. I mean, that's just such a bad take.
Dude, all the hockey analysts in the world are on Twitter.
Cool.
I'm just saying.
And you know what? They all thought he was some legendary defenseman.
I don't know. A lot more than you have.
I don't know if that's true, man. I listen to some of these guys talk and that are on TV, and I think to myself, they don't watch the West Coast. Like, there's a definite group of analysts on TV who only watch the East and talk out their ass on the West Coast, just spitting narratives.
I'm also talking about people who are from Vegas and Washington. I follow people.
My point is they don't watch Vegas. My point is they don't watch the West Coast teams. They live on the East Coast. They sleep and they just regurgitate the same narratives about the West Coast because that's all they know to do, because they don't actually watch the games. It's like the same reason why Markstrom wasn't, no one realized how good he was. Now Markstrom and Tanev are on Calgary, and all of a sudden they all realize that they're fucking awesome. Like, these guys never watch Canucks games. And I think that goes for a lot of West Coast teams. You can tell, because you can tell when some of our players move, like Goodbranson. We were going to regret giving up Goodbranson. They said, now everybody knows how bad Goodbranson is. They don't watch our games. That's, from what I can tell, the honest truth.
That part,
and to that point too, like, if we get to hear another person come on and say, guys, it's not Benning and Green, just listen to me. It's not them. It's got to be the players.
Dude, it's all the players.
It's like, who was it the other day? Even like Rob McLean had a quote about that. It's like, excuse me?
I know.
What are we watching?
That part I agree with. When Ron McLean says something about our team, I'm not trying to trash McLean, but come on, he doesn't follow the Canucks like we do. Like, give me a break. He doesn't. Mm-hmm. So when he says something like that, it's like, okay, yeah, cool.
I'm pretty certain a year from now, or 2 years from now, we're going to be sitting here talking about how shitty it is that we're buried under Myers and Schmidt. That's how I feel.
My argument is that I don't think they're going to put us in a situation like the Louis contract. I don't think they're going to be so immovable if that is the case, even if we're regretting it to an extent. You know what I mean? Like, let's say at the end of the day, in a year or two, because to me, I had always protected Myers, because the same way I'm going to protect Schmidt for probably the whole first year, which I don't really want to, and the fact that you're coming into a new team and a new lineup and we haven't really seen all that we can. But to that point, if after this season, it just looks like the same old crap, I don't see that we're going to be stuck under both of those contracts. Like, we'd be unable to move one or the other at least.
Yeah, they're more valuable at this point than Eriksson.
You'd still get a contender to give you a trade deadline offer for one of those two if they felt they gave them over the hump to win a cup.
I agree with that. Well, but then again, I don't think Dylan was ever saying Myers' contract was like Eriksson. So
no, I think he might have been implying it. But
I think Myers' contract is just as bad as Ericsson's.
Okay, well, yeah, never mind.
I think it might even be worse. I think
What?
Myers might be worse than
You
Ericsson.
think it's worse? Oh, dude, no.
Dude, Myers is bad. Like, you're giving Myers too much credit.
This is what I think. I think you and Tanev should go on a date. And then
I would love that.
Date Myers afterwards, and then go back to Tanev when it doesn't work out.
Look, the Myers contract's really bad, but I don't think you can offload Myers, and I think maybe you can offload Schmidt. You got to remember, we offered, because we won the trade, 90% chance we offered the most with a third round pick for Schmidt. That's why I think that I'm right in knowing that most teams didn't regard him very highly, just like I didn't.
Did you realize that
we were willing to give the most? I don't care. There's definitely teams who had the cap space.
You don't hear what I'm saying, though.
And if he was that good of a player, people would make the room. But he's not that good of a player, to the point where his value was at most a third round pick. That was we were offering to give the most.
At the time, no team was willing to give up money for like anyone, for one, and for two, not every team got to bid for Schmidt. We were one of the first few teams that actually got to bid.
That's such a load of bullshit.
It's not.
You think Vegas is like, you would offer more, but you don't get to bid. Sorry, I don't want your assets.
No,
that is such a stupid narrative. That is such a stupid narrative. I'm not even gonna even have that conversation. Yeah, you know what? I don't really want your good assets. We'll take the third.
Buddy.
Oh, we lost him.
We lost him. Colin, can you hear us, brother? Yeah, I mean, I'll try and maybe do something here if he doesn't get back in. Oh, there he is.
Oh, we lost you. What'd you say?
You cut out for a minute.
Yeah, that was funny. Dylan's face was like on this, like he looked like he was about to have a heart attack, and I wanted to take a picture of it because
it's the stupidest. I hate this. So many people make this argument where like, oh yeah, the trade wasn't that bad because the team didn't let other teams price, or all these stupid things. Like, no one ever goes in a negotiation like that. Anyone who says that type of stuff has no idea what they're talking about.
But literally they wanted to get rid of Schmidt's contract at the time. They would have done it no matter what because they wanted Pietrangelo, and that was their goal. Mm-hmm. And seriously, I'm not even joking. That's all.
I'll play the moderator once again. I'll take the middle ground here.
Okay.
I'll take the middle ground here, and I'll say, I understand where you're coming from in the sense of what you've seen and understood from the Twitter sphere, and Dylan's simple, plain thinking. And I'm kind of balancing the both in the sense of I do get that. I don't buy that they were listening to other people's calls. But at the end of the day, if you get what you believe is enough, you take it. That's just the reality of it. Yes, they might not have got to listen to all 31 teams because the Canucks might have been the fourth team to call them, and they would have been like, hey, you know what, is a third good enough? You know what, I'm okay with that because it's what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
That could be
Austin here. That
could be the reality of it, but that's not saying that teams didn't get an at bat at them. It's like every team probably could have made that offer. It's just sometimes timelines don't work out that way.
I think you just need to remember that I'm never wrong. All right.
And I wasn't saying that Colin's right. And I wasn't saying that Colin's right. I'll give you that. Like, I'm not agreeing with him.
This is why it's wrong, though, because the root of your argument was Schmidt is a better defenseman, and he could get more than a third if everyone had the space and had the opportunity to bid. But the truth of the matter is that argument doesn't work with the argument you're making, because you're saying that Vegas thought that Vancouver's deal of a third was good enough that they needed to pull the trigger before they listened to other teams' offers. If they really thought he was a good defenseman, they wouldn't jump on a third round pick then. So that whole argument is just based on a total illogical fallacy.
You do. Well, you do realize there's a detailed little part. I could look it up actually during the game, but it said that they had to trade Schmidt by a certain time in order to make the Pietrangelo deal go through. I don't have the information, but I remember reading that. They had to make the trade by like that night, basically.
Colin,
had to happen.
I guarantee, like, these GMs aren't idiots. They have a list of every team's GM's email, and all they have to do is click to select them all. And email out Schmidt's available. Send me your best offer. We've got to trade him by tonight.
They were in a rush.
Like, they're not dinosaurs. They know how to
I'm
work a
not saying
freaking
that.
phone.
I'm saying that they were in a rush to get him gone. They wanted to pull the trigger that day, basically. So they took what they thought was an okay offer and went with it.
And I'll
That's
try
a
and
true fact.
I'll try and cover up, and not cover up the right word. I'm trying to recap what I was trying to say, Dylan. Is I'm not making my argument to protect or build up Colin's argument. I'm saying that's what I believe happened. I'm just saying that's what I believe happened. Is they got on the phone, and you know what, is third enough? We're trying to dump $6 million in cap space right now. And to your
get
point,
to where
and
Colin is, though.
Hey, let me
I
talk,
think
dang
you're
it. I'm
spinning
sick of
my
you guys
argument.
interrupting me, all right? I'm getting sick of it.
You're spinning my argument
Sick of
more
it.
than I'm spinning it right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not you, Bill is.
And I'm just saying is that, yes, to your point, they might not have valued him as that much. But what if someone is offering you whatever, a friggin' 7th round pick right now to take Meyer's contract? Yes, you're taking it. Because if you want to get rid of cap space, it's not about demand or supply. It's about what do you need right now. And I bet you all of Vegas didn't want to hear we ran out of time on Pietrangelo. Because that's what we're hearing right now, right?
I get what you're saying, and what you're saying is possible, but what you're saying and the additional argument do not mesh. You see what I'm saying? If Nate Schmidt was this super valuable defenseman, number 2 defenseman, you're not going to pull the trigger on a 3rd round pick because you feel like it's good enough. It's just those two things. Like, to get these mental gymnastics you have to go through to get to Colin's mind space on this trade is just, to me, it's way too much. Like,
I think
it's possible, but it's just so highly unlikely. Like,
no, I mean, I don't know. I don't see why you think it's that highly unlikely, considering especially the economic space we've been in for the last 12 months. That's all I'm saying is what like how many of these teams are available to just take on a $6 million contract?
They just aren't in this
people
world
will
now.
if someone's a legitimate number 2 defenseman, people will find the, like, if what
Dude,
who
trades
let
in
me
the
like
NHL
Matthias Ekholm becomes available tomorrow. People are making space for that guy. They're gonna
It's
figure
not
it
that
out.
easy to make space for teams these days when no one wants to take space. You can't just make space. It's a flat cap
If a
world.
defenseman was good enough,
No,
people would make the space. Look at
It's
Pietrangelo. They made the space for him by
disagree.
trading Schmidt. People do
Dude,
this all the time.
It's so hard for GMs to make space right now in this world.
They had a motive in mind. They had an idea they wanted to accomplish. It's not that they were just
so if
saying,
Schmidt was so good, the other teams would have done it.
No, it's not that simple.
I think you have to take your mindset away. Just step back 1 second and think they were looking at this from a standpoint. I mean, this is me making a hypothetical. I don't actually know because I don't know anything. I just sit here and talk. And I'm just saying, to that point is if they're saying, is Pietrangelo good enough that we're willing to give up this player for a 3rd round pick, knowing we're getting this replacement? And like, if it was true that they had a certain amount of time, or they had, maybe at the end of the day too, agents are going to give you a deadline. You got to understand there's that negotiation process too of, okay, you've got till tonight because I got 7 other teams are going to give me $7 million. So you better make that deal done tonight. Or I
just burped on the pod.
I know, and I love it. And this is why I just think that it's not as cut and dry as really any one of us is saying it. There's
things
so
aren't
much
as
behind
easy
these
as
things,
you're saying they are. They're just not. With money,
that's what I think.
Yeah, in the offseason, dude, no one was taking money on. Like, no one wanted to. The owners wouldn't let the GMs do it. Like seriously, they think about it. Like how much money is being lost. Like, sure, and I think in any other world, I'm just saying this hypothetically, I honestly think that more teams would have easily taken on Schmidt's contract. No one wants to.
And if Ekman-Larsson wasn't so big, I think he probably would have been dealt in the offseason. If his contract wasn't such a huge contract, I think he probably would have been dealt too. Just because of that, it would have been, okay, this deal's good enough for us now. Arizona, we need this $8 million off our block. Like that. So I feel like if that wasn't such an egregious contract, that would have been moved too. And we'd be saying the same thing. Whether however high you value him too, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Time is at 3:50. We got 10 minutes here.
We got 20. It doesn't start till 4:10.
Okay, yeah. So if we lose tonight in the fashion we've been losing, or let's say we have a bit of a better game but still lose like 4-1.
Wait. Can we pause? I want to say one more thing because I've been thinking about it a lot and like how media manipulates things. The Canucks, shit, like pay or make a side deal with these analysts and commentators on TV to just like talk up our worst players, the Myers, the Schmidt, how good they are, and then the GMs like who don't watch, because I think there's a lot of them don't watch all the hockey, will get it in their mind, and they'll start to warm up to the idea of it making a deal for them, and then maybe we can offload some assets. Some of these teams, like I've noticed this one thing with Calgary watching them is like they'll have a very mediocre player, like a TJ Brody, but their fans and they're like a lot more of an optimistic group of fans. So they'll like the team and the fans will really prop up this player who's really an average player, but to the outside, people who don't watch their games, they'll think, "Damn, TJ Brody's a good defenseman." Really, he's not that good of a defenseman though. And but teams view their value higher. It's also the same way like with young stars. Sometimes you'll see a really good young star, but he'll kind of go under the radar, and because of that, he gets a lower contract, even though he probably deserves a little more. It's very interesting, but it'd be nice if the media ran some cover for us. That's one thing I've been thinking about.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. I
Because
mean,
all we do when a player underperforms, all we do is we just shit on him. And like, I'm all for it. I love to do it. But everyone just shits on him in the media. And then everyone's GM knows, okay, that guy's not that good.
well, I mean, like that's why GMs have scouts that are sent to the games.
Yeah.
Like they're scouts for a reason.
I'm not sure
I just don't think that would make.
how much they actually listen to these guys.
The thing is, I get what you're saying, but I really don't think that when you're making trades that are worth millions of dollars in this league, I don't think that GMs are going to base around opinions off Twitter.
I think not just Twitter. Like I think a lot of them watch like
but they're
Hockey
watch
Night in Canada, and the prevailing opinions they tend to latch onto if they don't watch a lot of hockey. I think more than you realize, they go off gut feel. A lot of these old guys.
I don't think it's a good thing to do though, ever.
No, me neither. Don't get me wrong,
stupid.
but
yeah.
like I don't think these GMs are that good. I mean, some of these moves, like there's a very select few to be fair, but like Torelli, he clearly didn't watch enough hockey.
Peter Chiarelli?
Yeah, he clearly didn't know how good the players were that he was signing.
Well, I mean, I've always thought Taylor Hall was overrated, but Adam Larson's nothing special. I mean, he's not bad, but he's not even close to he's not a top 2 defenseman.
Dude, that guy is such a bad GM. He was so bad.
Well, for Boston, he did well. He did good for Boston, then he just, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's, I don't know much about him, to be honest, like besides the fact that he ruined Edmonton, but.
He destroyed, like, the value he thought people had was just, anyways, that's just a side note, but I don't want to go into it, but, something I've been thinking about.
Yeah. I
definitely think I kind of agree with you that we have these preconceived notions about players and they get kind of a set of around the league because of that, like not being able to watch enough. And I'm probably guilty for that more than most people too, because it's like I watch 1 or 2 really good games by one player and then it's like I'm not watching all 50, and who knows what the next 2 or 3, all the rest were like, maybe they're crap. But having that sample size and then having that sit in the back of your mind is tough if you're not really watching everything. And to your point, even though they send scouts to the games, they got other games to watch. So same thing too. They're definitely not watching everything. You're watching as much as you can, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, and look at how many paychecks Eric Branson was able to steal just because he was drafted high. Like he should have been out of the league years ago, and people keep picking him up because he was drafted like third.
Well, plus his analytics were good actually, technically, which doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I know. I'm just saying.
You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. I hear you. I know what you're saying. It's funny. The year before he came to Vancouver, his analytics had him pegged as a number 3 defenseman. It's like, okay, cool. Analytics, I don't care. Like, doesn't mean anything to me.
Before Tyler Myers came, the Winnipeg fans talked about how statistically, when you look in depth, every defenseman that he plays with, stats are way worse when playing with him. And then when they're not with him, their stats all improve. And his stats aren't that bad, but he tends to make his defensive partner bad, was their narrative. Now, I don't know if that's still the case on Vancouver, but the eye test wouldn't disagree.
Yeah, it is. It's a problem. And if the guy can't make a decision at a blue line, that's going to leave your D partner in a very tough
Dude, Levy he's not going to
decision.
get scratched this game, and he's not going to get
Kirby.
scratched this year ever. He'll. Oh, okay. Let's just leave
Yeah.
it in the podcast. That's how we do it. Yeah. Sorry, Andrew Walker. We'll be right back. It's all good. No, we're just saying that because
100%.
he's on our podcast next time. I'm just joking, but
Uh-huh.
no, I mean, freaking Tyler Myers is not going to get scratched this year. He won't, no matter what. He just won't because it makes Jim Benny look horrible. And it's funny. Before last game, Benny did an interview and said, "Oh, I've liked Bertan lately. You know, I think he should get back in the lineup more often, and he deserves more of a chance. He's just a slow starter." And like Green's scratched him again. Like he's not even listening to Benny at this point. It seems like because that was I think that was a shot at Green for not playing Bertan.
Hey, we might be looking at a Moneyball situation where we got the GM and the coach on completely different sidelines. And hey, you know what? I mean, I didn't even really mean to make the analogy as accurate as I did. But hey, you've got someone on a 1-year deal. Like you've got someone fighting for a contract and the head coach and the manager. Like there's that similarities. But
can you blame Green at this point? I don't blame him for doing that.
For like not listening or setting his lineup card,
doing his own thing.
I mean, I can blame him because it sucks, but I mean, I can't blame him for making the decisions. If it's based on I'm going with my gut feelings, I'm trying to work for my job, or trying to save my job, or create my resume for the next opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. Dylan, did you hear it? Like Myers won't get scratched this year, no matter what. Like he just won't.
I know it's so ridiculous, that they're because they spent all this money on those two, they will bench Julevi all year to try to, I don't know, not look wrong. I mean,
but here's the thing, I don't understand that argument because I'm like, didn't Jim Benning also draft Julevi? Like he still wants to prove he's right on that one.
Yeah,
so I don't know why. I know, but like at the end of the day, I don't understand. I don't know. I made our little Facebook or Instagram story about it today. And that's our new hashtag, free Julevi.
I agree.
Hashtag free Julevi, because he's honestly like the guy's gonna be sitting on a taxi squad forever, and he's our most solid defense.
Dude, I was going back and forth with this guy on Twitter who I've since not unfollowed because I just have a different opinion. I don't want to read it, but I kept saying to him, "You do realize that Julevi's not playing because they're not going to scratch Myers. Like, they just can't do it. It looks bad." And he goes, No. I just think Green truly values Myers more than Julevi. And I'm like, okay, you can think that all you want. That's just not the truth. It's just BS. It's a BS argument. Myers is like our worst defenseman easily so far.
But I've actually really liked Chatfield better than him.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But like to your point though, Dylan, that's like. And kind of to tie into something Colin said earlier, I hate doing this, but I do this. My mind just works that way. But like you said, how I'd understand if Quinn Hughes didn't look bad, like, and all the rest of the defensemen didn't look like they're in the shambles as well. But then why is it that Chatfield and Julevi, the two like youngest defensemen coming into our lineup, are the ones that settle everything? Like I don't understand. Like, hey, they just learned the basics of NHL hockey, and guess what? It's working. Why don't we go back to the basics of how to play in the NHL? Like, I just don't get it.
Because we don't have enough time for practice, dude. We can't practice.
Yeah. That's
it's
right.
It's not enough time. It's every other, we've played so many games. We just don't have enough time. It's not our fault,
You can't have a chat and have a whiteboard out at the hotel. No. Not possible. That's like, that narrative is like I get it kind of for certain things, but like here's where it falls apart. That whole narrative falls apart when you start to talk about the little tiny things that are easily correctable. Yes, you're not going to completely revamp the way you penalty kill or power play, but the way guys are coming back on defense, exiting the zone, all the X's and O's can definitely be discussed and figured out and worked on at the hotel and then in game. One sec. Just like from playing sports, when do you improve the most? It's not practice, it's game settings. And the fact that we're not even improving in actual game at all is pretty damning.
One thing I'll say to that is the other day, Green's like, yeah, we're kind of realizing now we're talking to Baumgartner. I'm trying to make some adjustments with our system and implement it, and we're just working on that. And I'm going, you just lost Marchman Tanev in the offseason, and you're trying to deal with this now. Do you not like hear the word like? Oh, I just.
And this is
now.
where I come in and protect Jim Benning a little bit. It's just because when we see these things and hear conversations like that happening, and we hear literally just excuses like, oh, we don't have enough practice time. It's like, yeah, well, maybe if you just didn't shuffle the lineup every third game because nothing was working, we would have some practice time to get some players to actually get some chemistry together, or break up the ones that are actually playing well together. Maybe don't do that. Then you don't need all this practice time. You just need the guys to, like you said, use the game settings to figure it out. You all played in the NHL long enough. Like, it's such a joke.
It's just an inexcusable product right now that we're seeing. It's not even Detroit Red Wings caliber. Like, even they look better than us. This is embarrassing.
They only lost to Tampa 3-1 yesterday.
Yeah. That looks pretty good right now. I'll say that much. I'll take that. Hell, if we lose 4-0 to the Leafs, it's still an improvement.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see how we do tonight.
It just feels like to me like we're sitting here and we all know where this is going, yet somehow the organization doesn't. But like, it's just not exciting to me because I feel like Green and Benning going is inevitable, at the very least Green. But how many more games are we gonna have to sit through is really the question. So I feel like I know the destination. I just don't know how long it's gonna take to get there. It's very, very unexciting.
I think it's actually exciting right now. I don't like this, but I think it's exciting just to see, you know.
It just sucks if like we win one of these 2 games in Toronto barely, but still look horrible.
I know.
And like Toronto plays bad, and somehow we squeak out a win. How like that'll delay us another couple games.
Yeah, the Winnipeg game. Now that I've seen what's happening, that's probably the Winnipeg game. You're probably right about that.
I was gonna say, I don't know. It sounds like we're giving Jason Spezza and Wayne Simmons a career extension. So I mean, I don't know what to expect tonight.
Man, even Edler that night, Spezza just walks around him. Like, come on.
He looks so old, man. He's so slow this year.
And that's the thing. And you know what? Like, to that point that we kind of rip on him a lot. I mean, at least Colin and I rip on him a lot. But the penalty kill is where he does well. And maybe it's just because he doesn't have to skate. Like, honestly, float around the dot, float around the circle, just break up those small passes, dump it out. But hey, I mean, yeah, it's getting embarrassing. Watch this team play at all.
I agree. I agree. Oh, my mom just texted me, "Go Canucks, go."
That's what we needed. All right, let's turn it around, boys.
Mrs. Pike is on the.
That was a morale boost for the pod. Yeah. We needed that.
So what's the prediction for tonight, guys? Colin thinks Louis Eriksson's going to turn it around. We already know that. He's going to right the ship.
We're going to win the cup. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm thinking if Louis Eriksson and Tyler Mott could combine for 5 shorthanded tonight, that will probably be our only lead to success. But yeah, no, I mean, be exciting.
That's my prediction. 4-3 Leafs.
4-3 Leafs.
I said 3-1 with an empty netter.
Who's in net tonight?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
Who's what?
Who's in net? Who's starting?
Hope he is.
Oh, okay. Well, let me curl back. I'm gonna say 4-2 with the empty netter. I'll give him an extra goal.
I'm gonna go 8-5 Leafs.
Holy. If they score 8 goals,
I'm not even joking right now. I think the forwards are gonna come out and get some goals tonight because it's Saturday. But I actually think that we probably will give up at least 6. I'd be surprised if we didn't let in 6 tonight.
That's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
Like a month ago, you guys would have laughed at a prediction like that. Now it's like completely reasonable.
Okay, but who would have seen it being this? Maybe you called it, yes, but like, come on, like
I know.
Who could have seen besides Dylan that this would have?
Like, come on, this is not professional level hockey at all.
And don't worry, Dylan, I still have a note here that after 25 games, we're going to be in the bottom half of, I think it was goals against, or maybe it's expected goals against, but something like that. I can't remember.
It would be
because you were
cool.
just predicting how terrible we would be. So yeah, one person knew.
It would be cool if we got an intro. I was thinking about this the other day with our preseason pod and other pods where we predict stuff that ended up happening, and like it's like clips. It's like where there's a point where I say like, if Demko and Holtby aren't amazing, the Canucks could let in a lot of goals this year. And Colin goes, I agree. It'd be cool to clip that and then have like Edler getting scored on by McDavid and then Edler getting beat by Spezza and like clipping to all these.
How do you make that?
I'll start to play around a little bit more and get less lazy on the YouTube uploads. And I'll try and make some fun stuff. Sorry, go ahead. Now that I'm done, Colin.
Sorry, I interrupt like there's no tomorrow. But Dylan's worse than me, I think.
I know you're both bad.
I know. Can you even use, like, I know it's other podcasts doing this, but can you use audio clips from broadcasters? Is that even allowed to do that? Like, it's not like.
It depends on monetization, I think, mostly. Like, we're not making any money, so we're not monetizing from the broadcast.
Eventually, is what I'm saying. We could.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like YouTube copyright claims. You have to say who owns this product. We can't take copy for it and make money off it, but you definitely could play around with little things like that. And even I'll try and make the social media a little more fun.
It would be such a good intro to our podcast.
I like that. I like it's a good idea in my opinion.
I definitely think if we are able to have spot on clips like that are going to be relevant to the pod we're just discussing too, 100%. I'm going to try and play around with some of that, get some audio files to open up the pod. But,
I think that's a good. That would be hard to do, but it would take a long time to do it. But
no, it's not that hard, Colin. The internet's a wonderful thing.
Colin, I have a question for you. There's I was looking on Twitter like a week ago, and I saw like you're under the Hockey Hour CP. Do you have another Twitter or just that Twitter?
Just that. I used my old Twitter and then just implemented that, but I don't have any other Twitter. No.
Okay.
Also, too, I'm not sure if you guys have heard at all about Clubhouse. I tried to promote it the other day.
Oh yeah, what is that?
So it's an app that's actually closed app. Someone randomly invited me from social media days. I was kind of happy that someone did because I've been waiting for months to get on. And I hadn't really known what it was, but essentially it's just an app or a social media based around rooms where you come in and talk about stuff. Mm-hmm. So I realized that hockey isn't really in there. So I've submitted a page for us so we could have like a club called the Hockey Hour. Okay. And essentially what it is like I would schedule once a week. I think I put it as Wednesday at like 11 a.m. Pacific. I might try and change that if it lets me. But then it would be you hop on literally for an hour into these rooms and we talk with people on Clubhouse who are interested in hockey and just join them in. And I've already started to reach out to some people and invite them. But once I can invite other people, I'll get it to you guys so we could kind of do some collaborations on there because there's no hockey content at all. So I think that'd be a great place for us to go in there, literally just chat and just say, hey, how's your team doing? Or, there's something like that. Let's talk hockey. What's going on? So it'd be fun.
I like that. I'm down for that. Yeah, that works. Okay. Well, 4:10. I think that's it.
Yeah.
People listening, we will be live Tuesday at 6:30? Is it
7 p.m.
7, and we will be with Andrew Walker, the host of Sportsnet 650's post-game show of the Canucks. So that'd be pretty cool. I'm excited for that one. That'd be pretty cool, I think, to chat with them. So
it's gonna be a fun time. Otherwise, check us out. Spotify, YouTube now. You can see our beautiful faces.
We're only gonna grow from here, hopefully.
Until we lose Dylan, and then once he gets hired by Hockey Night in Canada to host their show, we're gonna be lost back here.
Dude, when's Don Cherry coming on the show?
I'm tempted. I will never message anyone else, but I'm tempted to see.
I'll message him.
But if we get Cherry, I just want it to be just me and Cherry, and I'm gonna do it long form for like 2 hours, and just like I'm gonna dive in though through his whole past. I'd make it really cool.
Hey, I've got a signed Don Cherry mini hockey stick, all right? And unfortunately, it's a Maple Leaf one. So I better get to be there, all right?
One thing I think is lacking, and this is completely random, but like, you look at where sports are, and like it's just always like, here's the game that's currently going on, let's talk about it. But like, you never get the sit down with a guy like Don Cherry, who's been doing it for 50 years, and they just go like through his whole past, his whole career. Okay, at this point you had this hardship on this team, it was really hard. Talk to me about it. What were the guys like? What was it like being on that team? I heard this guy was a horrible teammate, he's long retired. You could talk about that. You never get that. We
Yeah.
never get that long form sit down with a guy with a long history, and no one ever puts the research in to ask the right questions to these guys. And I think like it actually sucks.
And you know what? Like that's one thing that I've ripped on NHL for a long time is they've missed the boat on that opportunity. Like NFL films, when the NFL invested so much money into literally making a film product just as good as a Disney or any of these companies that's going to do a documentary, and every single Hall of Famer who gets inducted, they do a 1 hour segment literally of let's sit down with them, let's talk about the whole career, let's do do a whole thing with them. And like I don't know how the NHL hasn't realized that there's an opportunity there. Like it's
Imagine
just
the
makes so much
story.
sense. And to this point, I'll say this, then you could go ahead. Is I used to watch a show back in the day called Captains, and it was on NHL Network. That's where I became a long diehard Vinny Lecavalier fan. He stole my heart. It was a 30-minute show, and it was literally just that of like, hey, what's going on? How's your life? What was this like? What was it like winning the cup? What is it like going from Canada all the way to Tampa and starting out there? All these little things, and it was like, man, that's a dude I want to be like, and I want to play like that guy when in the future. And it since then I've been a Lecavalier and a Tampa Bay fan for that aspect. But 100%, like we're missing that. We don't get to see the personability of these players before or after they're in the league. Like they miss
Yep.
out on those marketing opportunities. It's ridiculous.
The one thing I can add on that is not in a negative way, but like I draw more attention to people who are struggling with like post concussion issues in their careers and like where they're at, because
Yeah.
those people have serious struggles and like no one even like talks about it at all. And like
Well, that's
Daniel
the thing,
Carcillo,
right?
for example, like he's and same with
Mhm.
Andrew Alberts, like those guys, like talk to them and say what's going on in their life, like because they're struggling with mental health issues now.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe there needs to be a Joe Rogan-esque
That'd be
NHL
cool.
style player or someone to come in and have that podcast to be able to sit down with guys and be able to like, hey,
Wonder who could do that.
what is going on? Yeah,
We
I don't
could.
know.
We could.
We could, but yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities there that they just missed the boat on. But it's like when you're in that mindset, that's when you start to think about things like that. Of yes, let's go talk to these guys with post concussion. Let's talk to these guys who
Yeah.
were in and out of the league 1 year after getting drafted. Like let's go talk to a Nail Yakupov. Let's see what his career was like. What was your experience? We know what it
That's
was like
cool.
for
I
us,
like
but
that.
like we need to see this content to create fans, and they
Yeah.
don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
get it.
how many of you know like anything about Naslin's life after his career?
Not
Our biggest captain, and when we were children. I don't know what
Mm.
he even has done since hockey.
all I know is he's a realtor and that's it. Or a construction manager. That's all I know. Because no one talks about him anymore.
I thought he just owned Sweden. I don't know. I don't know.
Probably does.
Him and the Sedins, they just own it over there. I don't know.
Huntsville, Sweden. Yes.
But
Man, that's
yeah,
a good
no,
idea.
lots of fun ideas, things we could start to
Yeah.
implement and try. But 100%.
That's an
Yeah, if we
idea
got a
down the
big
road.
enough, star one day,
Yeah.
that it was fitting for, yeah, totally was something we should do.
Mhm.
I agree.
Rather than
All
just
right.
ask him to talk through the same boring,
Yeah.
what
know.
do you think of the Canucks first 12 games? Like it's
Yeah, I agree. No, I'm
Yeah.
not mocking you. I just agree with that. Yeah, that's all.
yeah.
It does get the same content. Yeah, after a while,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely start to reach out. And you know what an opportunity might be is something like us being able to even reach out to like even like Utica comic guys and things that are coming into the league, or younger guys who are getting drafted by the Canucks, trying to get those
Yeah.
little stories. And we'll see what strings we can pull and try and get something like that going. Be cool.
You know how the Athletic, I'm almost done here, but how the Athletic has like you have to pay money to like dive deeper into certain stories. That's kind of what they're doing already, but like in a different sense. And that's like a good idea in our way. I guess.
The Athletic is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Really?
I've never read a full article of theirs because I can't.
Why?
So because I have to pay. I'm not paying to
Oh
read an
no, I don't
online
mean pay.
article.
I
I
don't
know,
mean
but
pay.
no, but I'm just saying their model of that exactly.
Yeah,
I get you. They do long form written things, but that's just
it's like a different version of frickin' what do you call it? OnlyFans. In a way. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, all right. I'm gonna go now because I just said
That's
something
the perfect end.
Yeah.
stupid.
yeah. Don't worry, Colin. I'll clip it.
Yeah, make sure you clip that. All right.
Yeah.